everyone. I'm Tristan.
I'm Roberta.
And I'm Abigail. And this is
The Globe Speaks.
We finally have our special guest today.
We have Abigail.
She's usually behind the scenes, but today we thought it would be really fitting to bring her in front of the camera because she has a lot to say and we can't wait.
Yes.
Can't wait for it.
Now that you said that, then I'm like, zoop.
No, you will speak. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about another parable. And this is the parable of the wedding banquet, okay?
Yes.
And it is taken from Matthew 22 verses 1 to 13. And I will be reading from the New International Version. Okay, strap in, guys. This is a interesting one.
A long one. Let's go.
Yes, okay. Jesus spoke to them again in parables, saying, "The kingdom of heaven is like a king who prepared a wedding banquet for his son. He sent his servants to those who had been invited to the banquet to tell them to come, but they refused to come. Then he sent some more servants and said, 'Tell those who have been invited that I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and fattened cattle have been butchered and everything is ready. Come to the wedding banquet.' But they paid no attention and went off, one to his field, another to his business. The rest seized his servants, mistreated them, and killed them. The king was enraged. He sent his army and destroyed those murderers and burned their city. Then he said to his servants, 'The wedding banquet is ready, but those I invited did not deserve to come. So go to the street corners and invite to the banquet anyone you find.' So the servants went out into the streets and gathered all the people they could find, the bad as well as the good, and the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king came in to see the guests, he noticed a man there who was not wearing wedding clothes. He asked, 'How did you get in here without wedding clothes, friend?' The man was speechless. Then the king told the attendants, 'Tie him hand and foot and throw him outside into the darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth.' And that is the end of this amazing parable, guys.
Yes,
where do we even start? So if you're new to parables, we're just going to have a series of questions that will help us to break down the parables so that we understand it a bit better. The first question I have for both of you actually is God in this parable? And if so, who is God in the parable? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think God is in this parable.
Okay.
He is the king. But I'll have to say, I'll say it's the characteristics of God in here. Because let's just go back to the end of that parable where he said, tie this man up. And what did it say? Throw him into the darkness. Yeah, that does not sound like God at all in that aspect of things. Okay. I feel like that does not sound like God. But God is in this in a parable.
Okay. I think because I struggle with that sometimes as well. When I see, we did this in our previous parable. You can watch when we looked at the unforgiven servant. But also there was God getting angry, and there's a sense of justice and punishment. And I think that can sometimes be hard to accept that this loving God that we know is. I guess it's just in that sense of that righteousness needs their consequences, needs justice, their consequences to our actions. But I would agree that the master is God.
Very interesting thoughts actually. And I would say I agree as well. You guys have basically said what I'm also thinking, so I'm not going to explain any further. Okay, so what is odd about the parable? Because I think, Abigail, you mentioned something that was also quite odd. You're saying towards the end, the master and you, Tristan, also pointed out that attribute to God, it doesn't seem to match what we think we know about God. Is there anything odd, or is there?
I think also that another odd thing about it is when the king also sent the servants out to go basically to war.
So I think what's odd for me is not even that he sent them out to kill them, but why are the people killing his servants in the first place? I don't get why you're it's the king's servant. He sends it. You don't want to go. Fine. You don't go. You go and kill them. And then you're right. The king then goes and burnt that city.
But then that doesn't it kind of saying that it's kind of like retaliation for what you've.
For what?
Then how's that characteristics of God in that way.
Again.
And I have
That's a good
another.
point.
Trust me, guys. And I have another odd thing about this. So, you know, in the first bit, it says the king basically sent his servants to those who had been invited to the banquet, but they refused. I'm sorry, but if I was a king or queen invited me to a banquet, don't I want to go? Like, wouldn't I want to go? So what's going on there? So I find that a little bit odd as well, actually.
Yeah.
So any more points that were odd for you guys as well, or should we just dive into the next bit?
Yeah, I think that's it for me for now.
Okay, that's fine. So then now we want to understand a bit of the context. But before we go into that, I just want to say, in terms of this parable, what was happening before this parable was actually spoken by Jesus was that we have the Sadducees, the Pharisees, like Pastor says, the Pharisees, the Sadducees. So these were like religious leaders, chief priests, things like that of the Jewish faith at that time.
Mostly self-righteous people. They think they know everything about the law, and they dictate to the people what needs to be done, how, and usually more of a religious than a relationship kind of way.
Yeah. A lot of hypocrisy was going on here.
Yeah.
So they were just asking Jesus, questions. They were trying to catch him out. You know, see, because Jesus was claiming he was the Son of God. Well, he was the Son of God, but they were just suspicious. They didn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
So that was what was happening. So it's pertaining to the context of the banquet or anything like that. I don't know if you two had an idea of like what was going on at that time, what people back then would have understood by this parable from the banquet. Like what does all of it mean, like the king and the servants, like in that time? Do you have any ideas of that? Like,
so I think like what I've understood is generally when there is a banquet, it takes a lot of preparation. So the king would have said, I'm having a banquet, but he wouldn't set a date yet. He'd be like, are you coming? If I have a banquet, would you come? Because then he needs to go and get everything. Some of the things need to be shipped in. You know, when the merchants come, he would have bought everything. So it's not a thing of, I'm having a banquet at this time and date. So then when he gets everything ready and he says, my oxen is here, my fattened calf, like I've got my food, I've got everything, tell them come now to do this. So maybe this could even be months after he'd said that. Let's say he said that in like winter, now it's harvest, people have got their fields and their things to do, so they've decided actually today is not a good time for me, I can't go.
And just to add on to what you just said, just one little note that when he does invite them, they have to RSVP to say that that I'm going to attend,
because he needs to know how much to order, right? How many people is going to come.
So he sends like initial invitation just to give them idea. Like I'm having a little something. So I'm gonna give you the details later. RSVP, and we'll talk later. That's the context of this. Okay, so understanding the context, something that you guys have actually brought to my attention while you said this was I didn't quite understand why he invited them twice, or he sent his servants out twice for them. But anyway, let's get into that actually. So what do we think this parable then means? Because we've got a king. Let's just break it down first. We've got a king holding a banquet. He specifically invited certain people, but they are not coming. And he's pursuing that. They still don't come. And what's even worse, like Tristan said, they went and killed his servants, and those that the king has sent. Okay, and so now the king sort of has an open,
invitation. Get anybody you like, tell them to come.
Okay, and then they start coming, and the king is looking around and seeing like, hang on a second. What are you wearing? You know?
There's that man. There's one man who's not dressed properly.
What's going on there as well? Like,
before we even get to that part of it, like, so then the people that were being invited, I'm guessing that would be the representation of us, the people, that the servants are going to invite us to come into.
Okay.
She's
breaking it down.
Or we could also say that the servants are the Christians
like the
going out.
I see what you're saying.
So fishes of men or fishes?
Fishes of men.
Fishes of men. Going out to, I guess that would be the second part of it, when they went to invite everybody.
Okay.
Not just the people, the specific invitation.
So you're already interpreting what it could mean as well.
Yeah.
Okay, I see that. So then before we actually Oh, did you have something to say about
go
that?
on then.
Before we actually say that, I just want to say, because we forgot to mention the friend that was the odd thing. I just found odd was that a friend that the king saw. He called him friend. You know, that's quite significant. And he also said, you know, why are you not wearing? You know, it's like, oh, is there a certain standard of clothing? You said that you invite anybody good or bad. Now you're coming to say that I'm not wearing. So that's quite something that I think we can unpack in the understanding of it. So I agree with you when I say that when you say that God is. I believe that God is the king.
Yeah, to an extent.
And it makes sense that you're also saying that the servants are also like almost like religious leaders, people who are or like working or Christians. Is that?
So maybe the prophets of God or servants of God or messengers of God.
Okay, working for God sort of thing, right?
But then you could also say that we are messengers of God.
That's true too. That's actually true too.
And that we are going to, you know, call people to come to us.
So let's solidify it. Who is a we? So we are Christian. We believe. So what sets us apart is that the faith that we have, right? We believe in the salvation, which is that Jesus came to die for us. We have that faith and understanding and the belief. Okay, so that is the we. Okay, so guys.
Next time on The Globe Speaks.
The message of Christ, I guess, is not always at a convenient time for people in their lives. So you might come and you're like, oh, I want to tell you about Jesus and salvation now. And they're like, but now I'm just hitting the right point in my career. Like, I'm just about to be famous and you're coming to tell me about Jesus, this invitation.
You know what? I've got something else I need to do. Oh, I'm tired. Yes. You get out. You open your eyes in the morning. You're like, today is gonna be a beautiful day. I'm just gonna stay in bed.
And go and invite anybody that you can find to bring them. So who are these street corners? Can we say they're the ones who are? So they have not been personally invited by the king. He's made it an open invitation to just bring them
on my wedding day. And you gonna be showing up like
I know what you're saying.
In your dressing gown, your pajamas.
So it seems like there's all.
But yes, we'll have more videos coming. We're diving into the topic of salvation, so subscribe. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment below, and share it with your friends and family. And we'll see you in the next one. See ya. Bye.
Thank you.